Hello, this is Pat.
Hi, this is Jeanine from WCBG.
Oh, hey, Jeanine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So please introduce yourself and tell me a fun fact about you.
Hey, I'm Pat Kiloran. I'm the singer and one of the songwriters and producers in the band Milkk. And some fun facts about me. I love uh, all sorts of anime shows. I just went and saw the new My Hero Academia movie with a bunch of guys, and it was great. I don't remember the last time I drank real water. I've only been drinking sparkling water for like a year. I skipped 8th grade and 12th grade, I guess, in high school.
Oh?
I think, sort of. Like I went to college in 12th grade, so I was always kind of the youngest in my class. Yeah, those aren't very fun facts, but they're facts, I guess.
Do you mind if I ask what you went to school for?
Yeah, so well, originally I was actually going to go to school and become a nurse, but I didn't get in, thankfully, in hindsight. And then I actually took a year off when I was like 19, 18, 19, something like that. And I just kind of worked for a year, and I was working in like nursing homes and nursing facilities, like doing like CNA type stuff. And then the year after that, I did a 1-year program in like audio production and like film sound production and like all that stuff. And that was just a 1-year program I went to up in Canada, in Ontario, actually. And so I don't know. That's all I really went to school. I kind of just got out and started living and the post school life pretty quick. So yeah.
So we have a question that was asked at our freshman orientation that we've been asking people, and the question is, if you could be any item in the kitchen, what would you be and why?
Any item, is that like anything from like food to appliances to
Yes.
anything? Okay.
Anything.
Well, let's see. My house, I bought my house a few years ago, and it is kind of a janky house. And so most of the appliances and stuff in the kitchen are kind of old and beat up. However, or they're not terrible. They're just cheaper. But recently, I made my first big kitchen purchase because my old fridge that was here when we bought the house broke down, and so I went out to buy a new fridge. And originally I was just going to buy like a used fridge for super cheap and like get by, but I thought, you know what, that's not a very good use of money. I should invest in a nice fridge. And so I found a really nice fridge that was like maybe like 30 or 40% off because like probably 30% off because it had like some dents in the front. And so I was like, that's the one. So it'd probably be my nice new fridge. The freezer door pulls out in the bottom. It's French doors. It opens up. It's really nice, and it has some dents in it. So I feel like that describes the way I want to be. I want to be a respectable person with some flaws, and that's okay. Or maybe also like just I don't know. I really like my French press coffee maker as well. Who knows? Any of these. I'll stick with the fridge. Answer.
I feel like that was so thought out.
It was very spur of the moment, but it was the most dramatic answer I could give on short notice.
It sounds like your fridge definitely has character. So.
Great.
Amazing. Okay, my next question for you is, what music are you currently listening to?
Ooh, good question. I mean, so we're in the process of writing another album, and so I've honestly been listening to a lot of our own music because I'm like analyzing it, every nook and cranny of the songs, trying to make them good. But when I'm not doing that, let's see, let me look on I always have like a little Spotify playlist, and then I kind of put songs in there I like. So, let me see. I always am listening to Kanye. That's my number one. But let's see what else is in here. There's a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff I haven't listened to in a while, but I don't know. I randomly I never really was super into him, but like all of a sudden I'm into like Bon Iver. I've been listening to one of his albums a lot. Mm-hmm. I really like the new Harry Styles album. I think it's great. I found this one song. The song I've been had on repeat lately is I found this one song. I'm gonna go off speaker now. By this J-pop trio called Perfume, and they have this song called what is it? It's like Sai-san or Sansai or something. I don't know. It's in Japanese, so I don't know exactly what it is. But it just basically sounds like the best. I don't know how to describe it. It sounds like if like all the video games and anime shows that I liked came together and just made this track, and I just have worn it out. I don't know why. I love it. I don't know exactly what the lyrics are or what's being said, but I can just feel it deep in my soul. I don't know. I just listen to like I don't listen as much music as I should for making music, but typically it's like either like something hip hop or rap-ish, or then lately it's been like I've been listening to a little more like indie stuff, but it just depends on the mood. Like sometimes you just put on like a jazz record or something if you're just in that mood, or sometimes it's like I'll just put on classical, like if I'm trying to like chill out or just think, like throw on some classical music, like whatever, which I guess is what makes the playlisting world right now so great, because you can just be like, I feel like this, boop, playlist, there, it's great, done. You don't have to think about it. Anyway.
I love asking this question because I pigeonhole myself into certain genres, and it's a problem. It isn't, but it is. Like, I listen to a lot of the same thing, and this kind of helps me branch out to listen to things I probably normally wouldn't.
Totally, and I think it's great because, like, I mean, whether you're listening or whether you're also like making music or whatever, it's like I feel like a wide variety of influence and like understanding of different musical cultures or sounds or whatever can help you make something more, like for me it can help me make something more special or like unique, which is something I really strive after, especially with a lot of the new stuff we've been making, like trying to kind of blend genres or merge different ideas together. Or even if you're just listening, it's just, I think it gives you a well-rounded appreciation and perspective of music, as opposed to just like, like if you're stuck in one vein of music, you can't really like appreciate a lot of other perspectives and ideas, and honestly it just kind of stunts, or it can stunt, because I've done that before, and it just kind of stunts like your, I don't know, appreciation of art, I guess. And then once you kind of let go of that, it's like, oh, there's so many ideas out there, and it's so cool and it's so diverse. And anyway, that's my ramble on that.
So my next question for you is, can you please describe your sound for me in 3 words?
Well, okay, I'll give this preface. It's hard to say because with every release since our first EP in 2018, it's kind of in a progression. So I'm going to describe, here's what I'm going to do to bounce off that. I'm going to give I'll give a brief 3-word thing for kind of each of the few releases that have come out, and then I'll give one for what we're working on right now.
Sounds good.
So our first EP, which came out in 2018. It's called Sad Girls, and it said like our first few songs that we had written on it. It was definitely a little bit rougher than what we have now, but you know, it's still cool. But let's see. So that I would probably say like, let's see. We'll say that one's described as Sad Prom Date. And then the next EP, which came out that summer, was called If You're Reading This, I Love You. And that one was kind of a progression. It got some more, a little bit less in the like indie sphere, kind of getting away from that kind of washy sound, whatever. And I don't know how to describe it. Maybe like, I'll just say that this one won't make sense to a lot of people, but I'll say because John, the drummer in our group, always makes fun of me because I used to be like obsessed with this sound, but I always used to use a sound called like a sawtooth synth, and there was a lot of that sound on that record. So I'll say that. It probably won't make sense to everyone. I'll say it. Then we had our first album, which came out in 2019, about a year ago, and that was called Headrush. And that was a very diverse group of songs. So it's hard to describe that specifically with yours, but I guess I'll describe that more on the feeling of it, which was I described it as when it came out. I described it as the hardest. It's an album about the hardest 2 years of my life, and so I will say like hardest 2 years, I guess, which I know doesn't describe the sound, but that's the feeling. That's kind of what the concept of that album was. And then fast forward to just last fall, we put out our latest EP, which was called God Loves You and So Do I. And we'll call that, let's pretend that we can hyphenate a word.
Okay.
And we'll say that was an EP of trap pop love songs. Let's say trap pop is one word. Because that album was last year I was super into like a lot of rap and trap stuff, and so I wanted to bring kind of the beats of that into a project while still like writing more like pop songs over top of it, or like, you know, whatever indie song. And so that's kind of the feeling of that. And so okay, so good, blah 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 blah. Fast forward to now, working on a new record for hopefully later this year. We'll see. I mean, that's the plan. But I don't know how to describe it. It's still coming together, but I would say it is. I'll call it my magnum opus. Those are my 3 words, because I feel like this album, where it's at right now, and it's still super rough in our process, but what I'm seeing come out of these songs that we're writing and putting together, and kind of the whole narrative of this album is it's a lofty project. It's like there's a lot of depth to it, but also it's kind of hit this precipice of like, I feel like we're finally hitting a point. Not that anything we wrote before was by any means bad. I think it was all solid and it only improved, but I think we finally hit this point of like, this is like, these are like great songs and like great production, and like I mean that's just always the goal, is just to get better and better and better and better. So I feel like we're hitting another precipice of like, but it's an idea and it's a concept that I've been brainstorming for months and months. So I feel like it's like my magnum opus. It's like kind of like a life's work or like a project. So we'll see if it ends up staying that way, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry, that was way longer than that question needed to be answered, but
no, it's totally fine. I've actually never had someone describe their like progression of albums and EPs before. I thought that was pretty fascinating, and I think it definitely shows. Yeah, I think it shows the progression you guys have gone through to like kind of solidify your sound and the type of music you want to be making.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's like a lot of the artists that I love have not necessarily stuck to like one thing their whole career. And like, obviously we haven't had like a big song yet that's like broken us into any mainstream level, but like even at a smaller level right now, until we can get something going to that bigger level, it's like I want to always be pushing for something new and being inspired by like what's in the moment, and just be like, as opposed to like, this is our sound, this is how we're going to stay. And it's like, I think the point of being an artist in general is like not just simply like committing to some brand or something. It's just being yourself and expressing that, and whatever that feels to, needs to feel like in the moment. And I mean, like I already expressed, like with Kanye, he's done that kind of more in the like, hip hop world, but in the more like alternative world, I feel like someone who's done that really well is like 1975 with all their albums. It's been like a big progression. It still feels like them because it's the same people, but it's way different than when they started 10 years ago or whatever. So anyway, long story short, yeah, I just think there's something so valuable about not being afraid to just express how you need to express. And if it's successful, great. And if it's not, great. You still made something valuable because it was honest. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite part of a song that you've written? It could be a lyric, a guitar riff, a drum cadence, anything.
That's such a hard question. I'm thinking back through our stuff. I would say I really, really like, I mean, obviously I'm liking what we're making now, but no one has heard that, so it doesn't matter to them. But on our album from last year, Headrush, the first track was called 90s Baby, and it was a very like weird sounding, like introspective kind of intro track, and like it was basically like a poem that was kind of sung over this kind of warped beat. And I really liked a lot of the lyrics in there. Like, can't think of it specifically, but that song specifically, it's basically a narrative that was just explaining kind of this, like, honestly, it was based on real experience that I had with someone, but it was also just kind of this like intro to like this album full of like mental shifts. And it was just kind of this like it was kind of just like a biography of like myself and the way I felt, the way I feel in different moments. And this particular time was when I was just in a rough season of life and struggling with a lot of things. And so it kind of is like bouncing around to like, it's like the first lyric is like, I'm just another 90s baby. It seems like my friends don't like me lately. And it's like kind of struggling with that like anxiety element or whatever. So like whatever, like thinking or like whatever. And then there's some like more like creative struggles. Like, I think there's a line that's like, I've got nothing new to say. Search the whole earth, it's been done yesterday. Like basically the thought of like, you're always trying to be creative, do something new, but it's like everyone's created like everything at this point. Like anything you make is probably influenced by something. And so it's like hard. It's like there's a desire within me to be fresh and be creative, be new. But it's like anytime I try that, sometimes I'll feel like, oh, well, this was already done. And like, that can be really frustrating. Anyway, long story short, it just goes on to a few other topics, but that song, especially in the moment, meant a lot. And that's definitely been one of my favorites over all the albums and stuff. So.
I do have to say, from listening to your album, I like the storytelling aspect of it. Like every song kind of has like this emotional backstory behind it, and I feel like in today's Spotify streaming culture, sometimes it's hard to find an album that just collectively follows this type of story.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of like concept albums, and that's not like strictly a concept. Like it bounces all over the place, but like this one we're doing now is definitely more of a concept. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's like there's a lot of great songs out there that come out today because technology is great and production quality is great, and there's a lot of great talent to filter through. So there's a lot of great songs, but I think it can be hard to find like some of that sometimes, especially with like what gets kind of rotated and on a bigger platforms, sometimes it can be hard to find like something with those, a little more of that like character to it, I guess, that like brings out the personality. And that's not discrediting anything, like great songs are great songs, but I've just always been a fan of stuff that like you can like feel the kind of the grit of the person's life in the song. And so I think we're just trying to do that and keep being more honest with that and get better at that as we go. So yeah.
This leads to my next question. What is your opinion of streaming services like Spotify?
I mean, I'm for it. Like people like a couple of years ago were always complaining about it, but, or like, you know, or even like 5 years ago, like artists can't make money. And it's like, well, now the fact that they're actually like legal cases and stuff that they might have sorted some stuff out. But I mean, it was honestly the best solution to, you know, people stopped buying albums and they were torrenting albums all the time and like illegally downloading them. And so like the solution isn't to tell people not to do that, because people are always going to do stuff they're not supposed to do. So the solution was, let's find another way. And like, yeah, there's downsides. But at the end of the day, you can still, as an artist, you can, you know, once you grow your platform to a certain level, you can make great money from streaming. And also it's, on the flip side for a listener, it's so convenient. Like I love being able to just pop, you know, pay my $15 a month or whatever and go listen to, you know, any song in the world that I want to hear, or go discover new stuff. It's great for discovery, I would say. So like anything, I think there's pros and cons, but overall I think it makes a lot of sense on both angles. You know, and I think hopefully, you know, and obviously there's always some stuff that comes up, like shady stuff, but like, so I think as long as the trend goes towards working with those companies and like to make sure that artists are getting what they deserve, then I'm for it. It makes sense in today's, you know, culture.
My next question is kind of in the same realm. It is, what is your opinion of releasing an artist's unreleased music after they've passed away? Should it be released or should it not?
Ooh, I've had this conversation sort of recently. So, I mean, I feel like there's a few different like sides of that coin. Like, so it seems like a lot of artists especially a lot of rappers and stuff that I really liked Juice WRLD and stuff, and I was bummed. Anyway, so that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I think obviously from like on the business perspective and like from the label's perspective with these, especially when it's like a big artist that passes away and they have, you know, a catalog of songs that the label has essentially like invested in, like when they give the artist their advance and stuff. So I understand the concept of like, from a business perspective, the label's like, okay, well, we invested a lot in this artist. We want to, you know, don't want to take a total hit, which is obviously shouldn't be the focal point, like someone lost their life. But I do understand the business side of it. However, I guess it just depends on what, maybe if the artist had a particular vision for that. Like, I think the way that they did Mac Miller's stuff, like his new album, was really, really tastefully done, because basically they were just like, we're not going to say anything more about this. Like his family member, whoever posted, like he wanted these songs to come out. So the producer he was working with like did like his best work to put it all together and get this album that he would have wanted to come out. And like I thought the way they did it and the timing of it was really tasteful, because it was not till like a year or two later that they did that. Whereas I kind of felt like with like I guess we haven't seen anything like from Juice WRLD, but like with like Lil Peep and like Triple X and some of those guys who died in the last couple of years, it was just like, oh, there's a song out like 2 weeks later or something, and I was just like, man, like, have a little tact. Like, I get it. Like, music comes out so fast, but just, I don't know. I think there's many sides to it, but I think it's fine, I guess, especially if it's under like a label contract, but it's like maybe just like do it in a respectful way that feels not like just a money grab, because some of those like features and stuff just feel like, oh, this is just like, you know, kind of tasteless. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. It's kind of a gray area for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we normally ask this question, because we feel like it needs to be spoken about more. This question came about because of the Little Peep song. Some of the stuff sounded like not fully finished, just didn't feel right when you listen to it. So, yeah, that's kind of why we ask this, because we think it's super important for artists to realize, like, these are things that do sadly happen. And, like, I'm obviously on the receiving end of music. Like, I just listen to it. And it's kind of crazy to see that, like, obviously, like, as a fan, you want to hear more music, but would the artist have been happy with what was actually put out?
Right. It's just kind of like, I mean, like, I've always said, like, and obviously I don't have a platform like some of those guys did, but, like, I've always, you know, kind of half joked to, like, the other guys in the group, like, hey, if I just randomly die, like, just make sure these demos come out, like, because I would want people to hear them, like finished or not, like, there's ideas there I'd want to come out. But, and so I'm sure, you know, it's the same thing for an artist on any level, big level, whatever, but I think it can just be tricky because, like I said, it's just like sometimes it feels like, and like you said as well, it's like something sounds unfinished, or it just sounds like, oh, we just kind of put this out because we need the streams, we need the downloads, like we need to make the most of what we have left of this catalog, and it's kind of just like, all right. But anyway, yeah.
So my next question is, what is one thing you would change about the music industry as it is today?
Oh my gosh, that's so many things. I mean, I don't know. I'll say it on a big level. I'll say something grandiose that I say a lot, and it can be interpreted how you wish. But I think, and this isn't a political statement. This is just simply a statement about the ideology of art. I think that the moment capitalism stepped into the artistic boundaries, it tainted art forever. And I'm not saying it's inherently a bad thing, because I'm grateful to make my living and be able to pay my bills from, like, making music, like, whether for myself or for other people or whatever. Like, but I think that the moment that, like, it became a thing, especially, and I would say it's been always a thing, but, like, when art and music started being made more to cater to like what people want to hear, I guess, which is, again, not inherently a bad thing. I think that ruined the creative process, because all of a sudden every freaking songwriting session I go to, it's like, well, let's write a hit. It's like, or we could just write what we're feeling like we want to write. It doesn't have to be like, it could be a hit. Maybe you want to write a really catchy single, you know, pop, whatever, or whatever genre. But sometimes it's like, maybe you just need to freely express it. And, like, sometimes those are the albums that are just, like, stick with you 10 years later. Like I'm a Justin Bieber fan, like, not a massive fan, but, like, I like his stuff. But, like, I'm not gonna think about the song "Yummy" in 10 years. It's not a bad song. It's a catchy pop song. And I'm a supporter, but, like, that's just not a song that's gonna stand the test of time, like, as far as art goes. And you can kind of feel that. It's like, this song was made and the lyrics were written in this way to get attention and to do that, and that's fine. Like, that serves its purpose. That's fine. But the songs and albums that stick with me over years, 10 years, whatever, are ones that like were just sheerly a creation and a product of the moment of that artist's headspace. And like, that doesn't mean there can't be like catchy things. It doesn't mean there can't be like quote unquote hit vibes in there. It just means you can feel it, and you know when it's real. Like, and I'm not saying that against the Yummy songwriting. Like, I think he just wrote a love album, and I think that's awesome because I think that was genuine. But like, my point is just simply like, people started writing songs just to try to make money, and it's like that. Obviously, that's fine. I'm grateful to do that, but if that's the core of why you create, then why are you making stuff? You should be making stuff because you have to. Like, for me, doing music and doing art stuff is more of a need and a necessity in my life, regardless of the fact that I make my living doing it. Like, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would continue to do exactly what I do now because it's part of who I am and it's part of what I need to do. It's part of my life's work, no matter on what level that's at. And so I just think there's so much. And on another level of that, with, you know, changing the industry, whatever, I just get so sick of the like, I don't know, there's also just within that kind of like business mentality of it all, which again, not inherently a bad thing, but there's also so much like clout wagging and like trying to, you know, just like everyone's always trying to like get in with some sort of crowd or like network with some, like the people who are doing cool stuff. And like, that's not how you like build relationships. It's not how you make friendships. Like, that doesn't last. It's not meaningful. It's like you're trying to build a relationship simply for your own business success, as opposed to like, this person's cool, like I just want to spend time with them. And then maybe like a lot of my friends who do music, I'm not friends with them because they do music or they're, you know, this successful or that successful or whatever. I'm friends with them because they're just my friends and they're cool people and like we get along. Anyway, that's my rant on that. I feel very passionately about both of those things. Like, just simply like your motive. Like, if you just love the radio pop like sound and like that's just what you got to make. You're like, I love this stuff, I want to make it. Then that's honest for that person, and they should make it. But like, if you're a like, you know, if that's not really what you like, but you think, no, I need to write this kind of stuff because that's like what people want to hear, is like just something kind of simple and catchy. It's like, that doesn't feel genuine to me. And so, you know, and so I don't want to oversimplify it or overgeneralize either, because I think everyone's just trying to live and make a living and whatever. But I think just really for me, it just comes down to that. And that's honestly been a big thing with this new album. It's just like, what's the motive here? Like, what is this inspiring to us right now? Are we making this because we just think it's awesome? Or is like this song, like, are we trying too hard for something that we don't really care that much about? Or excuse me. So yeah, it's just more about like just whether you're a musician, a painter, a writer, whatever, like just make what you think is like cool and what feels honest to you, and then that will come through, that personality will come through, and then you don't have to sit and worry about like, oh, am I doing just the right vibe for me, blah 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 blah. It's like, no, just like do your thing. Like, at the end of the day, like, don't worry about all the other you know, BS that surrounds it. Just like, that's what's fulfilling about making it, is just the process of making it. Honestly, it's, you know, I always tell myself, like, when I'm frustrated, like I'm like, want a song to do better or like be, you know, more successful, or maybe I, you know, want a show, a tour to sell better, whatever. I just remind myself, like, all that stuff is great and that's awesome, but I know for a fact that if all of a sudden tomorrow I had a number one song and then all of a sudden a year later I could play, you know, go play huge shows, like, you know, like arena, just totally hypothetical, like, just all of a sudden we're just in this huge platform. I know that wouldn't still be like the fulfilling thing. Like, that would be cool, but then, you know, the show would be over and you'd be like, okay, well, what's next? Like, so the point of being an artist is just to make it, like make the art, and like let all the other stuff come what may, and come how it will, like on whatever level or platform that is, and just like enjoy the process of making art, because the value of what you make is not determined by its financial success or its, you know, even like its reach. Like the value of what you make is what you put into it inherently, and the rest of the stuff is just, you know, icing on the cake, or maybe not, like whatever, you know, whatever. But art is valuable with or without the business aspect of it. And so anyway, that's my idealistic approach to it. Like, again, I'm glad I have a business making music and that I can take care of my house and my family with it. But like, I just, in the back of my mind, I always keep that in the back of my mind. Like, this is what's important about this process, not all this other stuff. So
I think you're right. I think we've started to commodify music in art in general, instead of just making art this passion that kind of should be. Like, it's now more of a commodity than what it used to be.
Totally.
So my next question for you is, what is your writing process like?
It's changed a lot over time, for me personally and as the group. But as the group, I would say, it used to be that I would typically write the songs and produce kind of a rough track, and then I'd bring it to the other guys and we'd like make changes and add stuff or change stuff, and then that would be it. Like, I was kind of at the core of it for a while. Mm-hmm. With this new stuff, like right now, it's a lot more collaborative. Like me and like I am still sitting down and writing stuff, but a lot of the stuff that we've been working on is you know, we're all sitting down together and just like making stuff in the moment and seeing what comes out. And like, you know, we're not going to use all of it, but it's been a lot more collaborative, which is cool. It's also been more selective as to who we bring into it. Like, we've always been self-producing, self-mixing, like all that stuff. But at least on the album, like, we brought in I wrote with a couple other people for it, which is fine. Like, I do that stuff too, but with this process, with the songs, it's either been like solely like we're writing these songs, or there's been like, I can literally think of maybe two solid friends of mine that I've brought in to like work on songs with, because I'm like, for whatever reason, I'm just like very protective of this project. And so like the people who I'm bringing into it are either just ourselves or like people I know who are gonna like get what it's going for. And so so it's honestly just been, we just kind of sit down, sometimes it's like just build a track first and kind of build a vibe, and then start writing to that, like writing melodies and lyrics and stuff. Or other times it's maybe I just have a chorus in my head, like a melody and a lyric, and then building a track around that. No specific way, but honestly, this process has kind of been like a Frankenstein process, because I've written a bunch of other songs that we've kind of, after the fact, decided weren't the right fit, but I'll like a particular part of it, so I'll plug that part into a different song, or I'll like take the lyrics of one song that didn't work out and put them into a new song that we like, but just keep the lyrics, sort of thing. And it's been a very different process for us, and we're taking more time on it, which is nice. So, and the collaboration aspect is really nice, because it just feels like, not that the other ones weren't, but this one just feels much more like we're all in it together. We're all writing these songs together. We're, you know, it's very, very much more like a group effort, as opposed to previously, which still was a group effort, but like was more of my creative aspects involved. And now it's like much more a blend of things, which is really actually exciting. So
I can tell you're definitely super passionate about it. So I'm looking forward to whenever it's released.
I'm ready for it to be done, even though I probably still have a million more songs to write for it, but I'm definitely stoked on it. So
my next question for you is, what do you do when you're not writing music?
Well, like I said, I started a family pretty young, so I'm just raising my spawn, my children. So that obviously takes up time. But just like when I'm just like chilling, I mean, I don't know, I'm pretty boring. Me and my wife have been watching this Japanese reality show called Terrace House that's on Netflix. It's like kind of like Japan's Big Brother, but way more like less produced. So it's just literally like these 6 people in a house and they just like live together. And it's like, I love it because there's so much less drama. Like the extent of the drama is like, hey, you told me last week you were going to follow your dreams of being a baseball player, and it doesn't look like you're really doing that. And then the person will be like, you're right, I need to do that. And that's like the extent of the drama, and I love it. It's not like I love The Bachelor. I watched The Bachelor. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. It's terrible, but it's so dramatic and obnoxious. And that's probably half why I love it, because it's trash. But I'm liking this other version where it's just like not that. Anyway, so I like watching shows. I already said I watch a lot of like anime stuff or play games and stuff. That's kind of like an unwind thing. I don't know, just spend time with friends and try to just like enjoy small things and small moments in life. And I'm trying to think if I have any other like particular hobbies. I don't know, not really. I just mostly make songs and like to just chill and spend time with. I really like films and movies. Like whenever Oscar season comes around, I end up watching like 20 movies because I want to see all like the award-winning stuff and just see what's good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty boring. I just literally like to just be lazy and just relax because I'm just always tired. So I just try to chill as much as I can.
Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I am 28.
Okay. I was just curious.
As of this year, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I got married when I was 21, okay, I think. And so I got married pretty young, like right out of when I was done with college, that 1 year of school. And then we had our first son when I was like 23. So yeah, it was by most people's standards and timelines in 2020 I was quite young, but I don't mind it. It's like obviously it's hard, and it adds a lot of different responsibilities and stresses, but like I'm just thinking like, hey, when I'm like 42 years old, my kids will move on and move out, and I'll still be like pretty young. I mean, 42 is pretty young, and I'll just be like, all right, I've got 40 years left to just, I don't know, travel or something. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I guess I kind of like some of my life circumstances. I had to just like, I had to grow up a little faster, but I had always like wanted a family and young and stuff, and excuse me, and it just ended up working out. But yeah, I don't know. I think, I mean, I even kind of feel that way. Like I have friends who are like maybe around my age or like a little younger, and like I'll be talking to them. And you can just tell when people are in different life situations. Like there's in different places in life, and I think can be true for, I remember when I was like 20, 21, 22, 23, and like I would hang out with some of my friends or whatever that were like the same age or around the same age, and I would just be like, what are you guys doing? Like, why aren't you thinking about this? And they would just be like, man, I'm just chilling, I'm hanging out. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know. So I think it's just, yeah, personality wise, it's just, some people just start focusing on, more things more quickly than others, I guess. But
so before I let you go, we're just going to do some spitfire questions. I don't want to keep you too long.
Okay. I'm, as you've noticed, I'm such a rambling person, so I'll do my best to Spitfire back as well.
It's the first thing that comes to your head, so they're kind of
Okay.
like one-word things.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. Yes.
Favorite movie?
That's not. I don't know. What's the first thing that comes to my head? Okay, don't think. Just say. Pass. Come back to it.
Okay. Favorite book?
Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway.
Nice. Favorite TV show?
The Office, of course.
Favorite state that you've been to?
I've been to all of them except Hawaii. For diversity of landscape's sake, I'll have to say California, simply because you can basically do anything there that you want to do landscape-wise. So I'll just say that for now.
Favorite type of food?
Probably like Thai food or like Indian food.
If you could go any place in the world, where would you go?
I'm planning a trip to Japan, and I'm probably going to go next year, so I'll say that.
Okay. And then, if you could play any instrument that you don't know how to play, what would it be?
Maybe probably like violin, like strings, cello, and all that stuff.
And then, favorite venue that you've played in?
With Milkk. Let's see. I'm thinking back. I really like. We've played in Boston. We've played at the Middle East there a couple times, and we've only mostly played small clubs at this point. But that one always treated us well, so I'll just say that for now.
Okay, and now we're gonna circle back to my first one. Favorite movie?
That's so. Okay, I'll say this for now. I don't think this is my favorite movie, but I can't think of it. So I'll just say a movie that I can think of that caused a visceral emotional reaction within me was the movie Room, starring Brie Larson, I believe, back 2016 or something. And that movie made me feel so many things. And so I'm going to say it for now. I don't think it's actually my favorite movie, but it made me feel a lot of emotions.
Okay. And my last question for you is, what are your plans for the new decade of 2020? This doesn't have to be a Spitfire. You can just talk about it.
Just get old and I don't know. I mean, hopes. I keep. The goal is to just keep making music, and I hope that the Milkk stuff will reach a much wider audience. So we're working on that. But ultimately, I just wanna keep making stuff that I'm proud of, keep getting better at my craft and music and stuff. And I don't know. I've dabbled in it in the past, but I'd maybe at some point want to try my hand at some more like art, like visual art, like painting. And I really enjoy like contemporary art and like abstract. And I've tried a few pieces, but I'd like to maybe dabble in that more. And then, I don't know, just become a kinder person, become a more patient person. Just treat people well and enjoy time with people. I don't know, just whatever happens.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you talking to me. It was a great conversation, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry for rambling. That's
totally
my
fine.
MO. But yeah, I enjoyed chatting, and all the best to you in your studies and graduating and all of that good stuff.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.